Hello, I'm going to demonstrate some very practical tools for forecasting, ways to make very specific and concrete predictions. Many of you know that I've made many political predictions, other predictions that are fairly specific, and it seems like they almost always come true. So let's see how it's done. I often like to use public people because they're accessible to all of us. We can see what happens in their lives and we can evaluate it. So I'm going to do this video on the very controversial president of the United States, Donald Trump. Now, as of today, I'm making this video, which today, November 6th, it's now become clear that the election for president 3 days ago, it's taken several days to sort this out because the race is so close, that it's now very clear that Joe Biden is going to win. Trump is contesting it, but that's what the results are going to be. Now, what's going to happen to Donald Trump over the next 4 years? What's very clear to me is that he is going to be front and center. You know, not from the astrology, but just from the news, it appears that he won't be president. So why the heck is he front and center? I don't know exactly, but he is. And why am I so sure of this? Because I find the astrology works over and over again. Now, there might be some catastrophic event. You know, people die, they, become disabled. That can happen. I don't see everything in astrology. But what I do see is that if Donald Trump continues functioning in a healthy way, he is going to be extremely influential over the next 4 years, just as much as if he was president. Wow, it's like stunning to me. Let me show you how you can make very specific predictions that are going to be true, from our experience just watching this, almost all the time, like 80 to 90% of the time. Now, just as a matter of full disclosure, I'm saying that Donald Trump is going to be very influential and a great leader and all this stuff over the next 4 years. Well, we can be biased by our preferences. So just to let you know, I did not vote for Donald Trump, and I'm, not a huge fan of his. So I'm not saying this because I want this to be true. And whether I'm a fan of Donald Trump or not let's just leave that out. It's not important. Let's just focus on the astrology. So let me show you how to do it. It's fairly simple and straightforward. What we do is we use the timeline format. The timeline format is so simple and straightforward. So here we are in the Sirius software, and there's the timeline format for Donald Trump. I've already selected it for the coming year. I'm doing this in November 2020, so I started in November and ran it for a year, so it goes through October 2021. And I'll show you what I selected, but first let me give you an overview. You'll see some things that last a long time, like this one, lasts August, September, October. Here's another one. These are red. Those are hard aspects, conjunctions, oppositions, squares. Black is what people usually call minor aspects, like 11 vibration here. Here's another 11 vibration. Here's one that lasts a very long time, a 13 vibration. So I just want to give you an overview of what it looks like. Now, let me show you what is selected and how we interpret this. So I'm going to right click, go to what I have selected is transit to natal. I have 1 year starting November 2020, and I have outer planets. We're just going to look at transits. I also use progressions and solar arc directions, but for this video, let's just look at transits. So I have transit to natal, outer planets, because I want to see the things that last a long time. So far, typical, normal, modern astrology, transit to natal, outer planets, fine. Where it gets interesting and a little different from the usual ways of doing things is I've selected with midpoints, composite, midpoint, same angle. Now, we also go into the customize to control how much detail we want. And when I first get an overview, of what's the really big stuff for the next year. I'm going to select I've got the outer planets, Jupiter through Pluto, and the natal planets, Sun through Pluto, and the ascendant and midheaven. Fairly standard, right? Transiting Jupiter through Pluto to the natal planets, ascendant, midheaven. And for midpoints, we have 2 tabs here, one for planet to planet aspects, one for midpoints, same thing. Jupiter through Pluto, transiting to the natal planets, ascendant, midheaven. Now aspects. The aspects, I want a lot of aspects. Look at all these things that are checked. I want conjunction, opposition, square, trine, sextile. I also want the semi-sextile and the quincunx, and the semi-square and the sesquiquadrat, and vibrations 5, 7, 9, 11, and 13. I'm talking fast, and if it's not clear looking at your screen, you can always replay this and pause it and stop it if you want to get all these details. But I want all of this because all of these are important. I don't need, in general, the higher vibrations in this approach to it because they rarely will last a long time. And it's the things that last a month or two that really set a big tone in our lives. So those are the aspects. And for midpoint structures, we only want conjunction and opposition. So these are the aspects for midpoint structures. These are for planet to planet. And one more thing. On this 4th tab, midpoints declination, I do want the midpoint structures. They're important. Transiting planet natal midpoint, midpoint to natal planet, and I want these 2 things checked. Midpoint to midpoint, I want to check this one. It says slow if not checked. You don't want the slow. The slow means you'll get thousands and thousands of aspects, and it's too much detail. We want just the big stuff. And down here we have composite and same angle. We do not check this one because if you check it, it's the slow, overly detailed calculation. Now, let's look at what's happening. There's a Neptune-Pluto thing going on. It says Neptune-Pluto equals Neptune-Pluto. It's literally what it says. The Neptune-Pluto angle in Donald Trump's birth chart is the same as what it is in the sky. That is a resonance. That's like 2 notes that are the same. It is huge. I think it's more powerful than the usual aspects we do. It's a direct resonance. It's exact on May 8th. To make it concrete, what's going on here? Let me show you his birth chart with this big aspect grid. This aspect grid tells me that the Neptune-Pluto angle when Trump was born, 55 degrees 48 minutes. Here's a chart for May 8th that I've already entered. Neptune-Pluto angle in the aspect grid, 55 degrees 48 minutes, same angle. So let's go back to his natal chart and bring up that timeline again. And that's why this timeline is showing that on May 8, it has an 8 here under May, means the date is exact, the resonance is perfect. And we can see that it gets weak in January and February, where with this with a 1 degree orb, weak over here, but it's moving in and out of orb, as outer planets often do. What does it mean? What it means is that Trump is resonating with the ideals and visions of the people. Now, that might sound wonderful. I just told you I didn't vote for Trump. I just said a great thing about him. Well, you could say Adolf Hitler was in tune with the ideals of the people too. Ideals are not necessarily good ideals. So whether it's good or bad, you can decide. But he is in tune with the ideals and hopes and visions of the people. Neptune-Pluto resonances, or any Neptune-Pluto thing going on, shows your connection to the collective dreams and hopes. It's not strictly personal because they're outer planets. The outer planets are more impersonal. They're more about what is, not so much just for me and my little personal life. But what is, and Neptune and Pluto, I've made videos about this, they define what the dreams and hopes are. To be in resonance with that gives you tremendous power to be effective, to be like a spokesperson or an icon, or what's another phrase we have? Poster child. I don't know where these phrases come from. You know, a representative, somebody who is able to speak the hopes and dreams of a large number of people. Now, if you're an American, especially and you're anti-Trump, you might be yelling at your computer now saying, David, he doesn't represent my hopes and dreams. Yeah, I get that. It's not the only thing going on in the world. There's a whole symphony of vibrations going on, but it's one of them. And one of the reasons why people don't like Trump is because they don't feel that he's expressing the highest potential of that Neptune-Pluto. He's expressing a quality of it, but is it the one we want? People will disagree about. Now, what that potential is, I will get into in a minute. But let's first go down this forecast of big things for Donald Trump. Uranus 4/9 Jupiter. That's very good. That's a bouncy, positive, good friendships, good enthusiasm. That's a nice thing. Let's go down and see some other big ones. Here's Pluto opposition Venus Saturn midpoint in July through October. Some kind of seriousness going on. Venus Saturn has to do with what's really fundamental and essential. Usually there's he'll be speaking about cutting waste. This is even though he's not likely to be president. As of today, we know Joe Biden is going to win the election, although Trump is protesting it. But anyway, let's go down and see. Here's some other things. Now here's an interesting one down here. A very long-lasting thing from February to July. Pluto 6/13 Pluto. Well, that's interesting because both Plutos are involved. Let's scroll up again with this. This is the transiting Neptune and Pluto and the natal Neptune and Pluto. And now it's telling me that the Pluto to Pluto is 13 vibration. Okay. So this Neptune-Pluto thing going on has some kind of 13 vibe. Let's go down more, and I'm going to show you something else very interesting. Okay, here's where I left off. Neptune and Pluto. You know, they're outer planets. They go direct and retrograde. Here, the Neptune and Pluto, Neptune's applying, this is Pluto to Pluto. Transiting Pluto is direct, and then it goes retrograde and aspects it again. Now look at this one down here. Let me scroll down a little bit. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to show this to you so I can circle it. I'm going to show it to you in a graphics program. I'm going to click on View in Graphics Program. And there it is. And so I can circle this. What I want to do is circle these two to show this to you. Let's get this circle tool. This will just take a second. Do it in red. What I'm saying is this. Notice this. This one. Let me make it super thick. Okay. Excuse me. And this one. Pluto to Pluto. Transiting Pluto to natal Pluto is 6/13. Transiting Pluto to natal Neptune is 4/13. So when you start seeing the same transiting planet or same natal planet in the same vibration, 13, you know you have a huge 13 thing going on. What this is telling us is this Neptune-Pluto thing that's going on for Trump is also in 13 vibration. If I look down further, I might even see some more. Well, let me show you a little trick with this timeline. Let's go back to the program and let me show you this. Let's Let's get this out of the way. Okay, I'm back here. Let me show you this little trick. I'm going to right click on this. I'm going to go quickly so you can pause the video. You can replay it if you want to catch some of the details that go by too quickly. I right click, I go to customize. I go to the appearance tab on the extreme right. I go to this button change appearance. I go to the second tab and I sort by aspect. And I click OK, 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 OK. And now it's going to sort this forecast by aspect so I can see all the 13ths. Because this is what I want to do. I want to see the 13ths. So it's putting all the conjunctions and oppositions and squares, or conjunctions and oppositions up at the top. They're in red. Now look at the green. Here's trines and sextiles. And then there's blue, which are the quincunxes. It's putting them together by aspect. Here are the semi-squares and sesquiquadrats. And down here are the black ones, which are the so-called minor aspects. Here are ninths. I can just see the aspects. They all have 9 in the denominator. Here are fifths. And here are the 13ths. And we can see the Pluto that we saw before. Over here is a Neptune. There's also a Neptune-Pluto. Anyway, I wanted to just show you. Here's a Pluto-Neptune, 13. I just want to show you this feature that you can sort by aspect. That could help you find related aspects when you're looking for it. Just to let you know about that. I'm going to right-click and put it back. A very handy feature that sometimes is useful in a situation like this. It's useful. I'm just setting it back to my normal default to do it by starting date. Okay, now let me show you another way to see what's going on with this Neptune-Pluto. And then I'll tell you what it means. What do I want to do? I want to stay here, and I want to show you Donald Trump's 13 vibration chart. Here is his 13 vibration chart. And notice he has Neptune and Pluto conjunct. So that's why there's so much 13 stuff going on, because he has Neptune and Pluto in 13 vibration. When planets are conjunct in a vibrational chart, it means they're in that vibration. Neptune and Pluto are in 13 vibration. Now let's look at a chart for November 1st. 2020, and here it is here. This is a chart for November 1st, 2020, and it's 13 vibration, and Neptune and Pluto are 13 vibration in the sky. So this is why there's so much 13 vibration going on. Now, let me show you one more thing. I'm going to show you a bi-wheel. With Donald Trump's 13 vibration in the inner ring, Pluto at 10 Sag, Neptune at 15 Sag. Here's the transits on November 1st. Pluto at 24 Libra, Neptune at 28 Libra. Notice that Neptune is conjunct Pluto in Trump's chart, and Neptune's 5 degrees ahead of Pluto. Neptune is 4 degrees ahead of Pluto in the transits. In other words, in the sky, Neptune and Pluto are in 13 vibration, and with the same, almost the same orb. When I get up to May, the orb will be identical. So when the angular distance reaches in the sky is 55 degrees 48 minutes, just as it is in his birth chart, this orb is going to be identical as well. So you see this huge resonance. Neptune and Pluto are in 13 vibration in the sky, just like they are at birth. And now, watch this. I'm going to go into the time adjust and move forward 1 month. And the Neptune and Pluto have moved forward to about 0 Scorpio. When I go forward a month to December 1st. I go forward to January 1st. Neptune and Pluto have moved further along. They're separating. They're going to go in and out of 13 vibration. They're moving out of 13 vibration. But notice Pluto is now not that far from Trump's Neptune-Pluto. I go forward to February 1st, and Pluto is almost caught up. Let's go to March 1st, and now Pluto's right in there. So in the month of March, Pluto connects with his Neptune and Pluto. And that's what you saw in the timeline. When we look at the timeline, we saw Pluto transiting Pluto and Neptune in 13 vibration to the natal Neptune and Pluto. And as we go forward, Neptune has now moved up. I'm in April. And I go to May. And Pluto is now there. Neptune and Pluto are seesawing. They seesaw 13 times more than in the natal chart. So it's a big seesaw going back and forth over the natal Neptune and Pluto. This is huge. If you look at this chart right here for May 1st, 2021. So May 1st, 2021, Neptune and Pluto are in the sky. They are conjunct with Neptune 3 degrees ahead of Pluto, and they are conjunct his Neptune and Pluto. Wow! This is huge because they're in the same vibration and they're overlapping. They're connecting. He goes into huge Neptune-Pluto 13 vibration energy. It gets triggered. And Neptune-Pluto 13 vibration means the dreams and hopes of being exceptional. This is the dream. It's the Jungian archetypal vision of America. One of them is the eagle, the proud, the free, the brave. He is intoxicated with this vision of the eagle, of being exceptional in the exceptional country. And he is exceptional, and we are exceptional, and we can do what we want. This vision rings so strong through him through next year. So that's what's going on. Now, with this vibration so strong and Neptune-Pluto having so much to do with the dreams and hopes of the people, he becomes a central focal point. He already is, but we know that over the coming year, this is going to continue to be the case because Neptune, Pluto in the sky are resonating, same phase angle, and the synastry. We saw that in the timeline. So let's cancel out of this. Let's go back to to Trump's chart, and let's go back to the timeline. Now, let's, there it is. There's the Neptune-Pluto again. Let's see when this Neptune-Pluto started and when it ends. And just to simplify this, I'm going to remove all this other stuff. I want to just look at this Neptune-Pluto resonance to see when did this start. Is this just this year? I don't know. I don't want to guess. So to make it simple, I'm going to right-click, go to Customize. I'm going to go to Aspects, and I'm going to remove everything but conjunction and opposition. I'm going to remove all this stuff. And I'm going to go over here to midpoints and remove the planet to midpoint. I'll click OK. OK, let's see what this looks like. That's good. Now I have a nice short listing, so I'm not overwhelmed with a lot of stuff. Showing me, I could even remove the planets, but that's fine. I can see the Neptune-Pluto. Maybe for teaching purposes, I'll do that. Just for teaching purposes. I wouldn't do it if I'm doing it for myself, but just to make it clear for you what I'm talking about, I'm going to right-click, go to Customize, and I'm going to remove Jupiter, Saturn, and Uranus transits. Click OK, click OK, click OK, and now I'll right-click. I see something. Well, that's fine. That's good enough. I've got a nice short list. Let's look at this Neptune-Pluto at the top. I'm going to click to the previous year, this left arrow up here. And was it there? And also, you know what I think I'm going to do? I'm going to set it to January 1st. Let's set this to January 1st. Let's set it to January 1st, the beginning of 2020. Just so it's simple. Now I'm looking at the year 2020. Neptune-Pluto is there most of the year, this resonance. Was it there in 2019? Yes. It was exact twice. Was it there in 2018? Yes. Here it is. I'm in the year 2018. It's there from April to October. It's lasting many years. Here it is again, 2017. And I'm almost done. Here it is again, 2016. And what you're going to see when we get to 2015, it's there, but it never becomes exact. You see that? It gets bright red. It's just starting up in 2015. Here it is in 2014, also there, but I'm using a 1 degree orb, which is a little bit generous. We actually want about a half a degree orb. And I could right click and change that. But my point is, it only becomes exact when I go hit this right arrow, go up to the year 2016. It becomes exact in 2016. And these resonances really have to be tight. This is the year he gets elected. Right in July and August, leading up to the election. This is one of the reasons why I predicted he would do well in that election. And that 13 vibration, if we look at it, it's in effect. It's in effect. That's what's causing this resonance, is this whole 13 connection. 2017, 2018, 2019. Here we are in the current year, 2020. There's the Neptune-Pluto. Let's see when it ends. 2021, 2022. It's still there, exact twice. 2023, and then 2024. It's still there, and in 2025, it's no longer exact. It's from 2016 to 2024. These are the years where Trump is on fire as an icon, as a symbol for the Republican Party with its strong 13 vibration. He's not getting out of the picture. No way. And not only do we have that, we can add back that 13 vibration aspect. Let's add that back, because I want to see that. I'm showing you realistically, not just like a finished lecture, but realistically how I play with things. Let's see, I'm up in 2025. I don't see Neptune and Pluto in 13 vibration. 2024, I don't see them in 13 vibration. So this becomes interesting to see when it happens, and here we don't quite have it either. And it looks like when we get back to 2022, the Neptune, there's Pluto, 6/13 Pluto. Neptune, 5/13 Pluto. So the 13 vibration is up there till 2022. It's there in 2021. There it is. You can look for the black ones. Look for these black ones. And in 2020, there's the Neptune, Pluto. So in 2021, it really starts up. 2021 and 2022. We see the Neptune, Pluto very strong. Has it been there the previous years? No. Let's go back to 2017. In the year 2017, there's the Neptune-Pluto resonance, but if you look at all these black aspects, Neptune-Mars, Pluto ascendant, Pluto-Moon, Neptune ascendant. So the Neptune-Pluto 13 vibration aspects are 2021 and 2022. Here's the bottom line of what I'm saying. Neptune and Pluto are resonating with Trump's Neptune and Pluto from 2016 to 2024. But in 2021 and 2022, they're reinforced by 13 vibration, which we see when we go forward to, here's 2018. See, I don't see Neptune, Pluto, 13 vibration aspects. I see the Neptune, Pluto goes Neptune, Pluto. But the reinforcing with this strong 13 vibration happens in 2021 and 2022. There they are. Pluto 4/13, Neptune, and so on. Neptune 6/13, Neptune. Neptune 5/13, Pluto. In the bi-wheel, you can think of that bi-wheel. The Neptune-Pluto is on the Neptune-Pluto during those years. So what's happening is the Neptune-Pluto are conjunct in the sky, but they're not sitting on his Neptune-Pluto as they are in 2021 and 2022. They seesaw over it. So he comes even stronger to the front. He becomes even more of a charismatic leader, for good or bad. If you dislike him, it's bad. If you like him, it's good. He ain't going away. This vibrational astrology just works. It just works. And I'm showing you how you can make discoveries of what's going to happen and give very clear predictions. So I don't know how exactly he's going to be doing this, but it'll be obvious. People are going to stand behind him, and he's going to continue to influence things, not as a government official if necessary, or as a government, whatever. I don't know how he's going to do it. I just know he's doing it. And it's going to be big, and it's going to be powerful, and it's going to put obstacles in front of the Democrats. It's just the way it is. Now, if he handles this really bad, and he just becomes like a kind of king, or thinks he can break laws of all kinds, it's possible not that many people will follow him, except for some very fringe people. If he doesn't go too loony, too extreme, he's going to get a huge following. But he is going to be on fire about this, no socialism, blah, 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 get rid of Obamacare, whatever, and even from the outside have a big impact. So that's how you can do this, my friends. The timeline is amazing. You just take a little time to look at what's going on. Okay, let's review my notes here. A basic technique is to use the timeline. Look at those 4 planet configurations. The 4 planet configurations are things like same phase angle. There's 2 other kinds. There's a midpoint to midpoint and a composite. I didn't get into those here, but there's 3 kinds. Same phase angle, which is the one we saw here. Another one is a composite. Composite is actually a 4 planet thing. Excuse me, a 4 planet configuration. Even though it only shows 2 planets, I explained that in other videos. And then there's the midpoint to midpoint. Anyway, these are the really powerful ones, and I've shown you the one that's important here, which is same phase angle. I've talked about this. Neptune and Pluto shows one's relationship to large movements, more than one's personal life, a big collective impact, and Neptune-Pluto is especially important for what people's dream and vision is. If you have a Neptune-Pluto resonance with what's going on in the sky, you have an opportunity to be a representative or spokesperson or a leader, person having impact with what the current wave of interest is. So we looked at this. We already did all this. Number 3 and number 4, we sorted. We saw group things by aspect. So these are just my notes to make sure I don't miss anything. We did all that. And we did this. We went forward and we looked at the next years, and we saw 2021 and 2022 are very, very special years. That not only is the resonance, the same phase angle going on, but reinforced by 13 vibration. So to read my bottom paragraph here about conclusions, this does not seem to make sense that Trump is going to be in a leadership position. As of today, what is today, November 6, 2020, it's now clear that Trump lost the election, although he's contesting it. How is he going to be this big leader when he just lost? I don't know, but the Trump supporters are not going to give up. They're going to put pressure on to force a, quote, liberal agenda. This could get so wild in 2021 and 2022. Believe it or not, people might even start talking about secession. Like, maybe not a complete secession, but maybe they will want the West Coast, Washington, Oregon, California, to loosen up their relationship to the country. I mean, it's almost a horrific thing to say in terms of splitting up the country, but I don't think that's realistic. But I'm just giving you, these topics like this are going to come up. People are just going to, with Trump, with this extreme Neptune-Pluto thing going on, the push is going to be very, very strong. And the Democrats are going to have to accommodate this in some kind of way to get anywhere. Anyway, you'll hear it come up. I don't think it's realistic. As a person living in America, but this is the extreme people are going to go to. They're not going to put up with it. The 2022 elections, when a lot of senators, congressmen are reelected, the Democrats are going to have to be very, very careful to not come across as anti-13 vibration, like not willing to stand up, be strong, stop crime, promote free enterprise. They're going to have to be strong and show that they are the leaders. Otherwise they're going to have a very bad time in 2022. And I'm not saying this again as a pro-Trump person. I did not vote for Trump. So, this is not something I want. I'm just telling you what is. And, some people who are Trump supporters may say, well, I told you so, David. We're in tune. But anyway, kind of joking around here, but you get the point. Joking around to the extent that each one of us decides what's good or bad. We don't get to decide what the vibration is. And we are in strong 13 vibration with Neptune and Pluto in 13 vibration, and Trump, even more than ever, becomes like a spokesperson for this, a leader in this movement. By the way, one other addendum here. Let's see, we're at 36 minutes. I try to keep these to a half hour. I'm going to make this short. There's another thing that's important with forecasting. I'll show this in the future. This is kind of a heads up preview, a preview to coming attractions. We have ways, I will show you probably in the next few months from now, ways to see when transits create strong resonating configurations, like almost exact configurations. And for Trump, 13 vibe, also 43 vibe, which I talked about in a recent video with Trump, is very strong, and his 11 vibe. And these are times when either Trump's 11, 13, or 43 vibe are extremely highlighted. So this is a wonderful, beautiful new development in vibrational astrology. I'll be showing more about this in the future, of how we can go in and see, for example, that in November, this month, Trump has very strong 13, 43, and then back to 13 right up till the end of the month. These are extremely strong. And so, of course, he is questioning, doing more than questioning. He's taking legal action against what he perceives as illegal activities during the voting process. His 13, 43, and 13 are extremely strong. So these are the things, and you can see that also, I'm just summarizing some of the time periods when particular vibrations are strong, the exact planets involved. So for example, this March 18 through 20, it's Saturn, I've got a typo here, it says V, that should be a T, transiting Saturn with natal Mars and Saturn in 11 vibe, March 18 to 20. Last thing I'm going to do, I think that's my last slide. This just repeats what I just said, the strong emphasis on 13 and 43 vibe. Yeah, that's the last slide. As a last thing, let me show you this March 18 to 20 so you can concretely see what I'm talking about. Here's March 18 to 20, 11 vibe. Here's a bi-wheel. Okay, this is the last thing. Maybe your brain's getting fried from so much information. Last thing. Inner ring, Donald Trump, 11 vibe. In the 11 vibe, he's got a very strong configuration. Mars and Saturn at 21 and 24 Virgo, opposition Moon and Pluto at 20 and 23 Pisces. I've mentioned in another video about Trump that this is his "you're fired" configuration. Impatient to get to work, stop complaining, stop whining, get tough, just do it. Don't give me any of this stuff. Get tough, grow up. He just has no patience for this. Mars, Saturn, just get down to it. Well, what happens? On March 18, this is March 18 in the outer ring. See where transiting Saturn is? 22 Virgo. It's right in between his Mars and Saturn. So the transiting Saturn is amplifying it. Let me show you with the time adjust. Let's go back one day. So a day earlier, Saturn is at 21 Virgo. And a day earlier, it's at 20 Virgo. So it's going 11 times faster in the 11 vibration. So on the 16th, it's at 20. On the 17th, whoops, I went the wrong way. 16th, it's on the 20. On the March 17th, it's at 21. And from the transiting Mars to the natal Mars is a little over 3 degrees. What I showed you in that table is when 3 planets are within 3 degrees in the vibration. This is just over 3 degrees. So it starts on March 18. That transiting Saturn, and natal Mars are all within 3 degrees. And they stay within 3 degrees until the 19th, the 20th. Now it's spreading just under 3 degrees from Saturn at 21 Virgo 58 to Saturn at 24 Virgo 26 with Mars in the middle. And then on the 21st, Saturn moves more than 3 degrees. When those 3 planets, either 1 natal and 2 transiting or 2 natal and 1 transiting, you have to have 1 or 2 transiting planets to 1 or 2 natal planets. When they are almost exact, within 3 degrees in a vibration, it's like a very clear sound. You can think of it as a cosmic sound, a cosmic vibration. So strong and clear, it stands out. And so for those 3 days, he's in the "you're fired" mood. You make a few excuses, you're fired, you're out of here. Get tough. Whether you like it or not, I'm focusing on the astrology. And we can all agree that Trump is this way, whether you love him or hate him, as the saying goes. So just focusing on astrology, we know he's that way. Again, I'm not getting into our judgment about him, just getting into the astrology. We know that he's that way, and we know when it's going to get fired up, March 18 to 20. And you can watch this. It's fascinating. So what I've done here is I've shown you some basic tools, the timeline for how I do these things, predict very specific consequences. It's amazingly accurate, and you're getting an idea of how it's done. And also I'm giving you a preview to some new tools that help find these very specific things, and I'll be showing you more about these new ways to see when these vibrations stand out and give us even more insights into what will happen. So vibrational astrology is this whole new world of insight and discovery that improves all the time. Okay, my friends, I hope that helps you understand how exciting this is and help you to do it yourself. Thank you very much for listening. God bless. Namaste.